On the bench today is my son's amplifier. We're going to put an output jack so that it can either be played with the internal speaker, or if you plug into this, it will send the outputs to an external speaker. There's not a factory option for this, so we're going to add it. For the jack, I'm using a switched jack so that switching will happen automatically. And what I was hoping to do is I could just drill a hole through this and use a long bushing jack, but it is just, there's not enough thread engagement because of the size of this panel. So what I'm going to do is take some metal I have on hand and make a jack plate and install it in this location, mount the jack to it, and then I'll commence to the wiring. So here's the piece of scrap metal that I've selected. A jack plate would be really good for this. If you found like a metal flat one for like a Les Paul step guitar, I used one of those for a Vox AC30 build and it worked really good, but I'm just going to use what's laying around for this one. Okay, I've got my pattern etched in here. I'm going to drill some pilot holes, and it'll probably be easier to drill this and then cut it, so that's what I'm going to try to do. Okay, I've got my holes drilled for the plate, and now I just need to make that last cut. I'm just going to score a line here and bend it over till it breaks, because I don't want to have to try to cut through that aluminum with the hacksaw in that little spot right there. It's going to be kind of hard to do, so I'm going to do the score it and bend it, break it method. All right, I have got my plate made and I've got my hole drilled, and what's going to happen is this is going to connect to the back so that the jack doesn't poke out so far. It'll be recessed in there a little bit. With the standard bushing, this would be really good. The long bushing might poke out a little bit, but it's not going to be too bad. Okay, here's the jack plate finished with the jack installed. And here's what's going to look like on the other side, which would be perfect except for I drilled one hole completely through for mounting the jack plate. As far as the wiring goes, there's not much to it. All the wiring is going to be temporarily installed with these blades that I'm going to just connect here. And then I have some corresponding connectors that will go to the internal speaker. It may be hard to see because of the lighting, but I'm going to do all my wiring with the back panel in this position. So if you ever need to take the back panel off and you wire this too tight in here, it's going to be difficult to take it off. So in this position, we should have enough wire to get it to this point to where it could be installed and reinstalled if need be in the future. Okay, I've got it all wired up. I've got the speaker stuff connected. The red wire, I'm going to put some shrink wrap on there. I need to shrink that up, get some zip ties in here to tie these lines together so they don't bang around against the wall and make a bunch of buzzing noises. And then we'll put the screws in and get this thing tested. Okay, here we have the Marshall MG10, and my son's off camera here. He's going to play a couple songs through it with the stock speaker, and then we're going to play it through half of this cabinet in 8-ohm mode to match the speaker impedance in that, and see what kind of a difference it makes.
Now, before I move on to the next part of the video, I just wanted to mention that my son had a great time, and I wasn't able to get my teenage son to meticulously go through and repeat everything that he had done. He just started jamming and playing with this thing hooked up to the 4x12. So I'm going to try to find some things that kind of match. He played a lot of popular songs, so I did my best to try to make those as vague as possible and through the audio editing. So this is not going to be studio quality stuff you're hearing, but it'll give you an idea of what the amp might sound like in its stock form, and then also what it might sound up hooked with either a Creamback 65 or a Vintage 30. Here we go.